Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This has been a video I've been looking forward to making for over 6 months. My vision is to have both of my Grand Nationals mechanically done. Once I got word about the 2018 Charger Ute going to SEMA, I know I needed to hand these cars over to a Turbo Buick specialist, so I would have enough time to prepare for that show. Fast forward to now, it's 2025. I want to catch you all up on what's been going on behind the scenes leading up to this point. GN1 here is my 84 Astra Roof Grand National. This car started the channel. It sat in the field for 27 years and has a new engine, 204, 214 cam, bigger turbo, injectors, headers, downpipe, the works. This is going over to Anderson Performance for oil, transmission, and exhaust leaks. GN2 is my T-Top Grand National, also an 84, but a divorce special that I got for 3,800 bucks. Drivetrain is stock, but it does have flush mounted glass all around. In the last episode on this car, we saw that it was backfiring through the intake, so my hope is Billy and team can take care of this as well. So let me take you back in time and show you the transformation. Smash that like button, let's get to it.
But first, let's fix a few things in the garage.
Now, a couple years ago, I put on the 8687 ECM, ignition control module, and coil. Now, I'm also going to end up putting on the adapter plate that correctly locates all of that onto the stock bracket. So let's zoom in and take a look at it now. So I got my intake out of the way, and if you notice, this coil pack is sitting a little cantilevered, mainly because I don't have the bracket on there now. I drilled a couple holes and I was able to make it work with what I had, but now I went and I got the right part. I want to sell it to somebody who's gonna appreciate all these little things that I'm doing. So it only made sense to go ahead and move everything out of the way and install it correctly. So we'll get the bracket up and out of the way and I'll show you how to install and mount this. Okay. Works. Doesn't look like it's working. Now I'm refreshing the entire window washing system on the 84, and it starts with replacing the washer pump and refreshing the lines. So if you look right here, we have a clip that we need to pop out of the way. It's what's holding our old pump in place. So we'll get underneath it and pull that toward us. Okay. Now this is locked in place, so you got to pull on it a good amount and you'll be able to get everything off, and then you can reinstall it right here. So here's that old clip, and the replacement kit should come with a new one. Make sure you don't lose it. I kept the old one just in case the new one springs up and leaves me. There we go. Just make sure that tab is locked in. All right, and then remember there's this little foam isolator. Make sure that's set down. Here's what it looks like. I tested the power and ground side for resistance, and I got an open circuit on the power side. Pin 6 should be powering the unit, and when I try to measure at the terminal where the pump would be, I'm getting nothing. I did a couple more tests, and it looks like my wiper board is shot. So it looked like we were dealing with a short on this PC board, and what was going on was you would get input from the wash switch on the steering column, and when you push it in, it would send 12 volts here. And the 12 volts wasn't making it to this connection, which feeds the 12 volts positive to the pump. So now that we've repaired that or supplemented the board with this wire, now we're able to send 12 volts here and apply voltage to our pump. Let me make sure that that works. Awesome. Now let's get that installed on the car. And here we go. So got our line hooked up over there. It's routed through this clip, rolling up to this second one. and then down and toward the inner spout. And then the outer spout goes to my windshield washer bottle right here. It's a scorcher out here today. It's probably about 95 degrees. So I got my Buick underneath the tent and we're gonna do some work to it. Check me out. So here's my new intake piping, and I'm gonna connect it so that it'll connect at the throttle body up there and intake air from a filter that will be on the other side of this panel. So I got my cone filter, my 3-inch K&N unit, and it's gonna be perfect to go right down there. I got my 4-inch hole saw from Harbor Freight, so we'll just go ahead and drill and get it done. So the intake piping I got on eBay, and there's enough to do 2 intakes on it, especially if you're crafty with your connections. The couplers I got from Amazon and eBay, just looking for the best price items, and got the right reducers on here, so everything fit well. Looks good, and I'm really excited to be able to get the coldest air possible in on this thing so I can turn up the boost a little bit more and just rest assured that I'm not sucking hot air from inside the engine bay. I did my dry fit, and it looks like here is exactly where we need to be. So let's go ahead and cut it out. Nice and easy. All right, so Billy, it's in your capable hands. Hopefully you can knock out everything, get me back right and running on the road. I'd love to be able to enjoy this thing for boost weather. I know it's probably simple issues compared to what you're usually dealing with, but I appreciate you taking care of my baby all the same. Now this is the T-top car. This is the 84 GM that I did the rust repair on, and then I did the metal work on the windows. And things are going pretty well on it, except for half throttle acceleration. Whenever you step on the pedal more than 50%, we're getting a situation where it just starts to break up. I don't know if the fuel pump is weak or if, it's not getting enough spark at higher RPMs or whatever the case may be. But it's becoming a little bit of a chore to drive, and I want to be able to enjoy this thing the same way I want to be able to enjoy the other one. Now this is bone stock underneath, but I want to be able to compare how much faster the Astra roof car is versus this one. And there's no greater way to have a baseline, which is this one. And then we can start to put together how much extra power is gained from the cam, the torque converter, the bigger turbo, the bigger injectors, all of that good stuff, versus this one. One that's just been brought up to snuff so it can run reliably on 2024's gas and life. So let's get this one up on the trailer. The tow truck will be here in a couple hours, and we'll be able to get this one out. Hopefully we'll hear back from Billy in about a week. He's usually been pretty quick with these turnaround times, so we'll be able to tell what's going on with both of them, get them both fixed, and then drive them back to back. All right, so that is the second Grand National that's on its way to Anderson Performance. Billy, do your thing. I can't wait to have it back and have it running at 100%. No Buicks were harmed in the production of this video.
It only took Billy and team a few days to figure out what was going on with this Grand National. The popping and banging was caused by an alternator that just wasn't fully charging. At idle, it would charge just fine, and I would get easily into the 13-volt range and plenty of amperage. But under load, it would start to wane off. This caused a spark that just wasn't hot enough to burn everything. They found a broken connection behind the dash, and after a few hours of diagnostics and some fresh spark plugs, I was good to go. And it drove great. No issues. It drove a little slow, but that's because I was used to the fast car.
All right. One eventful trip later, we made it. So it's in Sam's hands. He's gonna get back to me on Monday. I'm gonna get a spray out over to him ASAP, and then we can get new wheels on the car. Really excited about it, and one step closer to having a finished ute. Look at you. I am so happy you're home. I can't wait to get it out on the road. Let's listen in, see if we can hear it start. Ooh. Oh yeah. Nice. Yeah, I miss this thing.
But before I could take it on my celebratory test drive, trouble sprang from that rear wheel cylinder. Let's take a look. And as quick as you pour it in, it's leaking out. Let's get it up in the air. Okay, so I think I figured out what's going on here. So this piston has extended itself past the shoe because it's supposed to ride back here. So here it is all the way stuck out. If you take a look underneath here, you see this is the retaining spring that goes around the shoe. And on this side, it looks great. It's being held in and that's fine. But over on this side, it's not. There's a little bit of, it's not totally clipped in. So in that, you're getting the wheel cylinder shifting and moving, and that created the possibility of this happening. It's a tricky, crappy design by Buick in the 80s, meant to save a couple bucks from not having to use screws and bolts, and because of that, we end up with failing clips that cause this type of havoc. I know they were probably thinking, hey, you know, we're not gonna have the rusty bolt snap off in the wheel cylinder, we'll be able to save, you know, a penny here and there. But that's the type of stuff you run into when, one, you have that type of design mindset go on, and then you have cheap copies of things being replicated all across the world. So we'll end up replacing this, then we'll get back out on the road and try to put on some more miles on it. So we got the car back from Billy and really excited to see what it's gonna drive like. I've been driving a stock hot air car for a little bit, and it's gonna be nice to drive something with a little bit more pep. So here it is all covered up. We got a little bit of snow, but it's not gonna stop me from having a good time. And you see, this is the good part about driving a car that you restored. You care about it, of course, because you brought it back to life, but it's not something that you're gonna keep in the wrapper forever too. So this battery's dead, so we're gonna need to charge it up anyway. All right, here we go. Hooked up to the Avalanche. Let's see what we get. I need a little bit more. Give it a little bit more time. There we go. We'll let her warm up for a little bit and then we'll take her out. You know, one thing I noticed right away was how much more responsive this car was versus the stock T-top car. Any throttle input was rewarded immediately. It felt like Brooklyn, my 87 Turbo T. It felt lively. The severe pre-turbo leaks from the Chinese headers were gone, thanks to Billy's repairs, and the turbo spool sounds were much more noticeable with that 3-inch downpipe. All the repairs made the car enjoyable, an experience I really haven't had behind this wheel since I've owned it. I should have had Billy do an alignment though. The severe oversteer did not help when I was goosing it during a U-turn. The 18 pounds of boost was rewarding though. Overall, a great drive.
I am so happy to have both of these cars back and running well. Now, once the weather breaks, I plan on getting back to work on the cosmetics of both cars. If you're interested in a well-sorted Grand National, shoot me an email. They are both for sale. The next video series is on the 86 442, rust repair, drivetrain swap, and so much more. You know I'll be having fun breaking down the install so you can do the same at home. Smash that subscribe button so you won't miss it. Thanks for watching.